Hey, hello there, friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Cloud with Mohsin. Friends, I'm sure you are having a great fun in your life. Friends, today's session is about doing hands-on lab on Jenkins. So, if you remember, our previous session was on instantly improve your Jenkins CI/CD pipeline, wherein we had covered what is Jenkins, its features, where it's used. So mainly this is a CI/CD pipeline. Okay. Before going to start with this session, friends, let me take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Mohsin Sheikh. I'm two times AWS Cloud a certified professional and two times Microsoft Azure Cloud certified professional with pretty good experience in IT. Okay, so that was quickly about me, and mainly today we are going to what we are going to do today is we will be setting up a Jenkins master and Jenkins slave instance on AWS cloud platform via Terraform infrastructure as a code. Okay, so if you have not gone through this video, I would urge you please go and watch this out so that you will correlate with the today's session. Okay, and I will take a moment. See, in our previous session, we had briefly covered the Jenkins architecture. Okay, so just to quickly recap, Jenkins architecture has mainly two areas, I would say. The first one is controller or master. Second part is about agents. So the architecture comprises of master and slaves. Jenkins master is responsible for scheduling your jobs. So this is the main entity where we will be having Jenkins service running. It just, you can say it's a master, it just controls or schedules the jobs. On the agents, mainly these are responsible for building or running those jobs. So on the agents we will not be Jenkins service is not needed to be run. It just connects with master or SSH, that is port 22, and it has mainly the components such as Docker or Maven installed that we are going to cover up in this session for running as a runtime. Then it has Java running, so Java will be running on both. So Java mainly for Jenkins compatibility and some other tools. So please note, on master only Jenkins server service would be running. Slave, we will be mainly having the builds tools like Java, Maven or Docker or Git, etc. running on these slaves. Okay, now we are going to deploy this via Terraform. So I have this Visual Studio Code. In that I have few files that we will be running today. I will just explain each of these files so that you will understand what we are going to deploy once we are running the Terraform apply command. Let me first open Jenkins mains file. Okay, here in this file you can see, first thing would be provider AWS, region is where AWS region, so we are giving the variable as AWS region. All the variables are included in Jenkins variable. So here you can see we have given variable as AP South 1, so all our resources would be deployed in AP South 1, that is Mumbai region. Okay, so let me just open this for you, and sorry, this mains file. Okay, now after this data source for latest AMI. Okay, now as we discussed that it will be running the EC2 instances, one for master, one for slave. On these EC2 instances we are going to run, so this block will fetch, this is a basically a data block, and we will be fetching the Amazon Linux AL 2023 AMI, and that is, you can see, most recent, so we can ensure we have most recent version of Amazon Linux 2023 AMI running on our EC2 instances. Okay, after this, this is the first step. Then we will be having separate security groups for master and for slave as well. So here we are going to have one master, and instead of multiple agents we will have only one slave. Okay, so one master and one slave in today's session. Okay, about the security group of master, so you can see we will create the security group using resource, and we'll give the name as Jenkins master security group. Here you can see the description. Ingress, so mainly ingress is incoming traffic, egress would be outgoing or external. So simply you can see in means incoming, that is the way maybe you can remember it. E is external or outgoing traffic. So simple, just to simplify, you can remember ingress is, it starts with in, so it is incoming, okay, just not to get confused. And egress is external or outgoing. In ingress we will be having different ports. Ingress from port 22, you can see, so this is incoming SSH, that is we can connect from anywhere. You can see it is 000/0 open to world. From anywhere we can SSH on port 22 is SSH port, so we are allowing incoming port 22 connection from world. We have this port 8080, so here we will be on this port, we will use this Jenkins web URL. We can access it on this HTTP, you can say. Then third port that we are going to open here as part of security is port 50,000. Okay, so 50,000 is the Jenkins master's default port, you can say. On this port mainly agents would be communicating master. Here we have given, we are not giving here we are specifying CIDR specifically, so it means only from this private CIDR, okay, we are the Jenkins master would be able to connect over the slave. So just for security, to enhance the security, we are not giving this open to world, and only slave can connect using this private CIDR. About egress, that is external, you can say 00, so it means you can connect to any port, okay. Outgoing traffic can go to any port and open to the world, okay. So that is about outgoing traffic, and this is for Jenkins master. Now let's move and discuss about Jenkins slave. So what is the security group for the Jenkins slave? Here we are going to create a separate security group for slave with the name Jenkins slave SG. Ingress, it's port 22 TCP, so again it's incoming traffic. So on SSH port 22 we can connect it, the incoming anyone can connect over the web on port 22. Ingress, again we have second rule for ingress from port 0 to 65/535 and TCP. Now what it means is, see, all ports from 0 to 65/535 or of the type TCP, so we are allowing the security group of Jenkins master. So simply going with this architecture, master can connect to slave, okay, on any port from starting from 0 or 65/535, okay, and from only this security group. So it means only master can connect to slave using any of this port, okay. So that is simple meaning of that. Egress, again similar to what we did for the master, we are going allowing outbound traffic or outgoing traffic on all ports, okay, and open to world. This is because in case we will need to install or download some plugins or all those things, it is needed to connect to the internet or the outgoing traffic, okay. This was one part. Then we will deploy the master instance. So master instance, we are giving the name as Jenkins master. AMI, as we connected earlier, that data AMI with Linux, Amazon Linux 2023, that will be connecting. Instance type, we have given variable Jenkins master instance type. Now under Jenkins variable we have instance type. As you can see, we will have t3.micro as our instance type for master as well as slave, okay. And as I mentioned, so we will be having just one slave, we are not going multiple slaves, okay. Again coming back here, security group instance profile is, we are giving the permission for Jenkins instance. So basically here we are going to use SSM, that is systems manager, so that we can connect to these instances, okay, in order to check services, all those things. Hence we have given this IAM SSM rule that you can see. So let's cover this as well. So this was about master instance. Slave instance as well, we discuss about the count. We are going to create only one instance. It will use the same AMI instance type t3.micro as it's there in Jenkins variable, as we have seen here, t3.micro, and this is getting covered in the free tier. So please note, if you want to do this exercise and don't want, sudden surprises on the bills, okay, please make sure you are using the free tier in type of instances, okay. And as soon as you are done with the exercise or lab, please make sure all the resources are terminated, okay. So that is the bonus tips, guys, okay. So slave instance we have seen. User data, so here in both cases we are going to use the user data. So basically this is the you can say bootstrap script, okay. The first time the instance is getting booting, we will pass on some command so that it gets installed. We will cover it again. The name of the instance, here you can see name Jenkins slave, count index and 1. So count index always start from 0, okay. So 0 plus 1 would be 1. So it means the name would be Jenkins dash slave hyphen 1, okay. So that would be the name of the instance. Suppose if we were to create two instances, so it would be Jenkins slave 1, Jenkins slave 2, because the count for 2 would be 0 and 1. I hope you got the point. And we will be using a common key pair for both these instances with this name Jenkins key, okay, and it will be available on this path with Jenkins key as the name. So this covers the instance configuration. Now I will run you through about the what would be the bootstrap. So bootstrap, we are going to pass on some commands during the initial boot of the instances when it is getting launched. So what are those, okay. For master, you can see this is Jenkins master user data.sh. So here we are using DNF, okay. So you this is basically a DNF command. So some people will try to use systemctl. So systemctl may not work based on the the which flavor of Unix you are using. So DNX is mainly I'm using for this Amazon Linux 2023. So it will in the first step it will update all. So update Y, it will update all the packages on the instance. After this step we need Java 17. So DNF install -y Java 17 Amazon Corretto, okay. So this is mainly with respect to Jenkins compatibility. We need Java 17 to be installed on, we are talking about master instance now, okay. After this step it would be Jenkins repository. So we will make sure that Jenkins repository is updated. So here first of all we'll do the curl -o, and Jenkins repository would be updated in this path. Here this is the URL, and then we will also import the relevant packages, okay. You can see here. After this step we will install the Jenkins, because as I covered earlier, Jenkins service must be running only on master, because that is only responsible for scheduling and making sure. So this is boss, you can say, or it is making sure all the jobs are under control. Hence Jenkins service must be running on master and not on slaves, okay. So once Jenkins services is installed, then we will go and install Git and Docker. So Git is for version control and Docker as build tool. Once Git as well as Docker and Jenkins everything gets installed, we will start those services. So to start service we will use systemctl start Jenkins, will enable Jenkins, along with that we'll start Docker and enable Docker, okay. Then the next step would be here, that this command user mod ag docker Jenkins. So basically what this command would do is it will add Jenkins user to Docker group, so that Jenkins user gets the permission to run the Docker commands, okay. And finally sleep 60 means it initializes before we start using it, and make sure that the initialization has been completed. So because of that we will use the sleep 60. So this is sleep 60 seconds. Now, similar to the master user data, that is bootstrap script, we also have slave user data. So let me open this as well, and now you can see the difference. On the slave, we are not going to install Jenkins etc on master sorry slave, because as I mentioned, the job of the slave would be just to make sure that all the builds are completed and jobs are running etc. Here what we will pass on to this slave is, first of all, we will update all to make sure everything is updated. We will install the Java 17 runtime as compatibility with Jenkins. Then we will install this build tools, like here in this case Docker Maven. Okay, Git by Docker Maven, or we will install it. Then we will restart or start those services. Again we will add this user Jenkins, and after this, similar to that, we will add this Jenkins user to Docker so that it can run the Docker related commands. Okay, so these are some of the relevant commands we will see. See, we will give the ownership Jenkins to this directory. We will modify this Jenkins home directory. Okay, and we will also install some other things as well. So you can see it's node.js will install it, and the other things like make mkdir, so to make the directory for workspace, and we will change the ownership of this workspace directory. Okay, so these are some of the commands. About variables, that we already discussed, so these are some of the variables with the Jenkins admin password as well, and it would be sensitive. So as you can see, sensitive is true, so it means when we will deploy the commands, it will not be shown, the password will not be visible as it is sensitive category. Now let me first initialize Terraform init to initialize the backend. Okay, so this is for the first time to make sure your backends and all those things are initialized. Okay, now the next step would be, you can run Terraform validate. It will validate all the stuff for us, and then we will initiate with Terraform plan and Terraform apply. So that would be the sequence, and because of that we will be able to see if the our configuration valid, will get success, otherwise there will be an error. Now let me run Terraform plan. So plan is just a preview, it will not install anything, but it will just give us a blueprint of what would be what things would be going on to be deployed once we run the apply command. So this is just a preview, it will not actually create any resources. Okay, please note this. Now let's see, it will just go through each of this file, and now let's go one by one what plan has validated. So Terraform plan, see, Terraform use the selector providers to generate the following execution plan. Will perform the following actions. So plus would be when we are going to create any resources, there would be an orange button, orange symbol when something is getting to modified, and a hyphen red colored option when we are destroying. Okay, so when we will destroying the resources, you will get to know. Okay, what it will create is AWS IAM instance profile Jenkins profile. So here ARN everything would be known after apply. Then IAM role Jenkins SSM role, that we want SSM so that we can connect to the instances both Jenkins master as well as slave. That is fine. Then this IAM role policy will be attached. Okay, which is okay to that role. Instance Jenkins master will be created. Okay, so AMI would be this one, and all those things like known after apply will be known to us once it will actually apply. Okay, once the instance is created, Jenkins and all those things which we have provided. Okay, okay, then it will create, you can see Jenkins slave 0 will be created. See, name it will be, as we discuss, it will be Jenkins slave 1, because the count that we are given is just 1. Okay, then key pair will be created with the name Jenkins key. security groups will be created for master security group with all those rules, egress and ingress as we covered. Security group for slave SG as well will be covered. Okay, so total 8 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy, which looks okay. Changes to output. So once this executed, this will be the output. So what we can expect is Jenkins admin password. So this is a sensitive value as we have in the Jenkins variable parameter. We can expect the master public IP, master URL that we can connect on port 8080, and slave private IPs and SSH connection commands. Now we have this Jenkins output. Here you can see, and under Jenkins output, these are all parameters that we want the output to give us. Okay, so that was quickly about this Jenkins output. Now looks okay to me. Now let's run Terraform apply to actually execute these resources to AWS platform, and it will validate unless we are giving the auto approve parameter. It will prompt us a review and give us a approval. Okay, see, so it's always I would prefer to not provide the auto approve so that you we get a final chance, you can say, in order to connect correct anything if there is something is not good. Okay, before we can provide the approve. So only yes will be accepted to approve, as you can see here, and I will click on enter. And now it has started creating resources. And one interesting thing, see, when Terraform start creating the resources, please note that it will create in a hierarchical manner. Means suppose for EC2 instance, it's needed that key pair should be assigned. So before instance creation, it will create the key pair, you can see. So it will auto detect the dependency and accordingly create the resources. Okay, so it's very smart. And here you can see we got the output. Admin password is sensitive as I mentioned, hence it's not displayed here. We have master public IP, this one. We can connect Jenkins on master public IP and port 8080 as we had added this in the security group, and slaves private IP it has displayed, and some commands to in order to connect via SSH to both of these instances. So this you can see these commands are there. Now let's go to EC2 Amazon console and validate. Let me just refresh. I am inside Asia Pacific, that is Mumbai region. Let me just refresh, and here you can see our instances are running now and status check is being initialized, which means it will take 1 or 2 minutes before all the checks are passed, and we can go ahead and start accessing our Jenkins. So there will be a little bit configuration that would be needed once the instances are initialized and readily available, and we will then start using the Jenkins. Okay, so let's give it a minute or two so that it gets started. Here you can see we have this public IP address, private IP addresses, okay, of these instances. So we have this slave one, and this is the master. So with this public IP address and private IP addresses, and see, we have not given any specific VPC. It means we are using the default VPC. Okay, how you can validate is you can go to networking, click on this VPC, and it will bring you to this VPC here. Okay, which is, you can see, default VPC. Unless we have specified, it will go and launch the resources in the default VPC. Okay, so this is just a bonus tips, friends. Okay, now let's see what is the current status. See, our slave has passed all those 3 checks. Let's give a minute or two to master. For the slaves, we can check the checks. What are the checks is system status check, instance status check, and attach EBS status check. So all these 3 checks are there. So earlier, I believe I'm not sure since when the three checks started. Earlier were only two checks. So we had system status checks and instance status check in the past, but now it seems Amazon has this third check which sees attach EBS status check. So it will validate whether the EBS volume is properly attached and accessible. So EBS volume means your storage. Okay. So these are the third checks these days. So please note if you are preparing for exam, so this would be helpful. Now again see master has as well three checks are passed for master. Now let's go back to our uh, this one. I will just copy this, click on follow link and click on open. Now you can see our Jenkins has properly. So if you get this message, it means your Jenkins has been successfully installed on the master. Okay, so this is the master, please note. Now it says we need his password. Okay, from where you will get the password is this is the path they have been given. Let me just copy. I will go to my instance, obviously master instance. I will connect it. For connecting, since we enabled the SSM role, hence we will get this session manager connect. Okay, connect is enabled. In case you are not getting this connect option or it will be disabled, make sure you have instance manager. So SSM manage instance core. So SSM role enabled. So make sure. Okay, how you will check it? I will just go back. I will quickly show you. So here is suppose you see here see Jenkins SSM role. If I click on this one, so Amazon SSM manage instance core. So this should be this policy should be attached to the role. If it is the case, then only you can access the instance via SSM. Okay, so SSM is a more secure way to connect to instance. So now let me connect to this instance. I got the prompt. I will just do sudo su and I'll just do simply cat and the path which I am getting on the Jenkins page, and here you can see. Let me quickly copy this one and I will paste it here and click on continue. Okay, now it was successful. Now after this there would be two options to customize Jenkins. First one is install suggested plugins, so the plugins that Jenkins suggests to us. Second is one is select the plugins to install, so we can customize which one we want. For this exercise I would go with the first one, that is install suggested plugin, and here it will start installing the plugins that Jenkins thinks are the important one. So it will automatically it will detect which plugin should be in place and it will install it for us. So again let's give a minute to this one to install all these plugins, and once it's installed then it will be ready for us. Okay, here you can see it will install these plugins like pipeline, git, email, and on top of this, so once Jenkins is available and we think that some plugins are missing, for example AWS credential is one of the plugins, so that we can give the AWS credentials and start deploying the resources on AWS or whatever the things. Okay, so that we can install even after. So this is just basic setup. Once it is in place, we can always go and add the additional plugins which are compatible. Okay, so the compatibility should be with respect to Java and Jenkins version, so that we can see in the upcoming session. Even once this is in place, in the dashboard of this Jenkins we can see if there are some issues or with respect to particular plugins or some OS etc., so that we can readily see once Jenkins has been fully operational. Now great, now we are on this step. Let's create first admin user. Let me just create it. Cloud with Mohsin. Let me give this one as my username and let me enter the password. Okay, and let me save. So this is the, we can skip uh, as well, but no worries. Let me save this, and this is the Jenkins instance configuration. So that is the URL. Okay, I'll just save and finish, and now it says Jenkins is ready. Okay, let me click on start using Jenkins. Great, now you can see we are on the Jenkins uh, portal. We have successfully installed it. Now couple of things what we can before we can get started. Here you can see a gear button here. So here this has all the configuration. Now you can see manage Jenkins. See, Java 17 end of life in Jenkins. So it is complaining we used Java 17. If you had followed me correctly, so we had this Java 17 in our slave as well as, see, we installed Java 17. Okay, so now what it says, Java 17 is end of Jenkins. Okay, end of life in Jenkins. So it means we need to go the latest one, maybe Java 21 or something that we need to do. I can just simply ignore this for now. Building on built-in node can be security issue. You can set up distributed builds. I can just dismiss this for now. Jenkins took some agent offline because their key health metrics were below the threshold. Okay, so again I can dismiss this for now. So these are all this configuration that we can do after we have done this. Okay, here we can play around and customize this as per our requirement. About plugins that I was referring to sometimes back, if I want to add some plugins, I can go to plugins. Here we have available plugins, or the plugins which can be installed or which are the already installed plugins. Okay, all those things will be reported here. For example, if I want AWS credentials, so in order to install or sorry connect to AWS, here you can see this is one of the plugin. I can select this one and I can install this. Okay, so this will check the internet connectivity, and because of this reason, in order to download the plugins and all those things, we use that egress port to open to the internet so that it can download any plugins or update from the internet. Okay, I hope we are on the same page, friends. Okay, I was referring to here on the Jenkins main, we had given, see, egress 0 on CIDR 000/0, which means to enable Jenkins to install. So if it was not given here, our plugins might be failed. Okay, so that is the things. We can just click on restart Jenkins when installation complete and when no jobs are running. Okay, so it will just restart the Jenkins for us, and our browser will be automatically reloaded once Jenkins is ready. After that, plugin auto plugin is installed successfully. Now see, it has successfully installed. Okay, if I go back to install plugins, I can search for AWS credentials and it is installed. You can see, okay, it's enabled here. See button, it's enabled. So this we can use to interact with our AWS. Here is, once this one is in place, we mainly use our access key ID and secret access key so that we can integrate with AWS. So how we can do it? We can go to manage Jenkins, go to credentials, and these, the default one is system credentials. Okay, I will click on global credentials. I'll click on add credentials, and here we can select, see in this first option kind, it is AWS credentials. So if you are not able to see AWS credentials as option, one of the option in the kind category, you need to install that AWS credential plugin. Okay, so here AWS credential, I can give AWS credentials. Okay, description again, and here you can see I need to provide access key ID and secret access key. Okay, so for that I have my access key ID, which is this one. I will paste here, and secret access key of my user, again I will copy from here and post here, and I will click on create, save. So here you can see I have this AWS credential has been created now. Okay, so whenever I will need to create the pipeline, then I will go and use the same AWS credentials, and because of this it will enable me to interact with my this AWS account, and I can perform any deployment like that. Okay, so once this is in place, what we can do is probably we can click on new items here, say sample pipeline, something like that. I can click on pipeline. Okay, and simply what you will need to do is here you will just need to paste a script here. Okay, so for example I have, let me check if I have any. Okay, I can use this one, a simple script you can say. So it is just simple hello world pipeline you can see, and I'll just click on save. Okay, so my pipeline has been created, and now I can, if I want to run, I can just simply click on, because this is a very simple pipeline. Here you can see under configuration, you can see that's it. I can go back and I will just simply click on build, and all builds will be coming here. You can see my build is running. I can click on console output, and it will just deploy, it will just give the echo that hello world or whatever the message as part of this pipeline will be displayed. That's it. Okay, so it will wait for executor, and here executor means our Jenkins node. Okay, Jenkins slave I am talking about here. So every time when we are deploying, it will use the this whatever slave it is available here. Okay, so simple like that, and here you can see this is the progress. So I will let it run. We can always pause it or resume it again. Okay, steps we can see here, what are the steps here, and once this is completed, even we can download view as plain text. So whatever things we need to do, we can check it here. See, this is the overall status. So I will just go with the console output. Okay, and let it run. Okay, so it will run and execute that hello world message, whatever you can see here as part of this. What it will do is it will just echo hello world message, and all these steps it will echo for building applications, running tests, deploying applications, and it will then, if it is successful, it will provide that pipeline succeeded, else it will reflect as pipeline failed based on the success, the status of that. So that it will take, this will get completed. If we want, we can always go and stop this. Okay, how you can go is you can go to pipeline, and there is a button here. Okay, to cancel it. So it will ask to abort it. If we really want to abort or stop the job, we can just click on yes. Okay, and it will just abort that pipeline. Okay, so now we can see the same message might be displayed here. It is aborted. Okay, since I cancelled that job, so that has been aborted now. So friends, I hope you got some understanding about how Jenkins setup is done. Okay, if you have any queries, just feel free to write me in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to assist you with your queries. Okay, and as I mentioned in the beginning or during our session, once you are done with the labs, please make sure uh, initially please ensure you are using the free tiers. Here I am using the t3.micro, so that I should not get any surprises bills for my usage of these labs. And once you are done, you can simply click on Terraform destroy. How you can do is, see here you can run Terraform destroy. Similar to apply, it will stop and ask us for our approval. In order that, say if we want some specific resources only to be destroyed, we can choose it. We can specify those resources. Either we can specify along with Terraform destroy and the resource names, else we can also hash those resources in this configuration file, so that those will be skipped. Okay, and see, for when it is going to create, it will, I'll show you the difference. For the creation, we had seen there was a green button like this, green plus button, that it is going to create. Now since it is getting destroy, it will destroy everything. Since we have not given any filter here, it's vanilla Terraform destroy, and it's orange hyphen button for the destruction. Okay, so at the bottom as well you can see summary. Plan 0 to add, 0 to change, and 8 to destroy. So we want everything to be destroyed. Okay, I will just click on yes, and it will start the destruction. So similar to when it started creating the resources, it will just check the interdependency. Like sometimes you, while when you are trying to delete resources manually, you will say that it depends on this particular resource has dependency on the other resource. Okay, so in case of Terraform, it's very intelligent. Again, it understand the interdependency, and it will destroy the resources which needs to be done in a sequence. Okay, we're almost done. So it is now destroying our master instance. Now let's check on the EC2 console. See, it's shutting down the resources, and soon it will turn instance state as terminated. Okay, from shutting down. So let's go back. It's destructing everything now. Even the instance itself is destroyed. See, it destroyed everything. Hence your Jenkins would be does not exist, or you will get some error that uh, it doesn't exist or something like that. So I hope you got the point. So friends, that's it from today. If you have any queries, just write me in the comment section, and please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Cloud with Mohsin. I will share this previous video link with you. You can please go through this one, and then you can watch this video and do some hands-on. Okay, thank you so much for your time, friends. I really appreciate your time, and take care. Bye bye. Have a enjoy your weekend, friends. Thank you. Bye.